God, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you for saving us from the wrath of the Hurricane Helene. And Father, we pray for those that did get affected by it. We pray for the souls that we lost, and we pray for the families, Father. The ones that are in need of food, water, shelter, Father, just keep them in your loving grasp until this thing subsides. Father, be with us this evening as we go about doing the business of Camden County. For this we pray in your most heavenly and glorious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call, Katie.
Commissioner Reddick is absent.
All right, let's see, we got an amendment to the agenda. We need to add approval of the prosecutorial services agreement. Can I have a second on that? Second. All in favor for adding that? Motion carries. All right, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda as amended, Chairman. Second.
All right, all in favor? Motion carries. This brings us to approval of the minutes. If there are no changes to the minutes from the September 17th regular meeting and executive session and the special called meeting of September 24th, can I get a motion to accept those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to accept the minutes of September the 17th and special call meeting of September 24th as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
First and second, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to our first public comment section of the night. We'll limit it to 3 minutes and agenda items only. Any registered speakers, Katie?
Mr. Rob Moore.
Good evening, Robert Moore, 509 Westgate Circle, St. Mary's. I'm here to speak on the topic of the animal control, I guess you would say, deficiencies. I think many are going to address, I guess, the state in which animals are housed and cared for, and that I don't think that's the root cause, and I don't think that's the major issue. Down in St. Mary's, over the last year, I've had to fight and push through the city council and the bureaucracy down there to get simple enforcement of leash laws. Camden County is either the 6th or 7th largest county by acreage, and I believe we only have 3 animal control officers that patrol our roads and that would respond. So for, I say, about 18 months, I had a lackluster dog owner that would just open her door and let her 2 full-size dogs roam a subdivision in St. Mary's to, I guess, stretch their legs or find food because a couple were emaciated. So I would call animal control, and the animals that moseyed over, or as I say, mobiled into my yard, by the time the ACO ever showed up, due to their response time, due to our size of a county, that animal has mobiled off somewhere else and could often be closed out as could not find the animal. So I asked my mayor and city council and city manager down there that something had to change, and they did change the ordinance for police officers to issue leash violations. But again, that's still at the mercy of response times, things like that. So to me, with my experience, and at that time, my father that was with us, he has since passed, he would be out on the front porch catching some sun, having a cig, that kind of deal, enjoying his retirement, would have a dog come up and he would try to shoo him off, and I feared that he was going to be mauled on my front porch because I could never get relief from my government that takes my dollars. So we may discuss how to house the animals and all that, but really, we, the citizens of Camden, never get the relief of actually having an animal control officer contain or pick up the animals of concern. And maybe we need to explore a county-wide permitting and let the funds from that fund a shelter. And we have our law enforcement hold people and fine those people that don't have permits. But other than that, if we don't want to go that route, then just let it be and let God's creatures run the streets and live out in nature like people want. You know, we care about little mice in the sand dunes, but we got to worry about the cats and dogs.
Sure, your
Thank
time's
you.
up, Ron. Thank you. Anybody else registered, Katie? Anybody else wish to speak for the board? Come on up, ma'am.
I would also like to speak on the animal issue.
Sorry, could you state your name and what city
Ellie
you live in?
Young, Kingsland. Okay, the things I'd like to address are, number one, the quoted 48-hour rule. Our animal control is telling residents to leave dogs free for 48 hours because they can't pick them up until then. Setting aside the obvious problem with that, when people call after 48 hours, animal control is telling them there's no space and flat out denying them, leaving them hanging for weeks or even months. It is completely unethical to imply to a resident that a dog will be picked up in 48 hours when that generally just will not happen. It appears to simply be a sneaky way to get the residents attached to the animals so that they're forced to find a new home for it themselves. Second point, loose dogs. It's not acceptable to leave dogs loose for any amount of time where they can kill people's pets, bite their children, cause car accidents, or get hurt. I've heard the reports of flocks of fowl being killed and people being chased. We got to do something about this. There are people that refuse to walk their dogs anymore in my neighborhood because there's loose dogs. Take a second to imagine how devastating it would be to learn that your dog went up to every neighbor in the neighborhood excitedly saying hi when he escaped, and not a single neighbor took it in for fear of being stuck with it. And then it was killed by a car or something like that. We should be picking up these dogs and reuniting them. Euthanasia. Before last year, it was horrible to learn that our county was one of the highest rates in the nation for euthanasia. It was horrible to find out that an animal that you found on the weekend, there was like no place to bring it. Why now do we have no euthanasia? I've heard that our animal control can't even do euthanasia themselves. I don't understand what the switch was. Why was it okay before and now it's completely unavailable? One dog that I was holding for over a month, I held him for over a month, and the entire time they told me I was next in line for pickup, but the kennels were full. They couldn't do anything. Humane euthanasia is my fourth point. Currently, if an animal is severely injured, AC may not even be able to euthanize it. This summer, I had a cat that had a broken jaw, and they could not do anything. They don't have anybody that euthanizes. The police could not do anything. I could not shoot in the county of Kingsland, so I couldn't even euthanize it myself. This is unacceptable to have animals suffering like that. What is our long-term plan for this? Are we going to make a shelter? Are we just going to keep it up like Charlton does and do nothing? I mean, this is unacceptable for a city that's growing like ours is, and a military town where we have the big turnover and things like that. We have to do something. That's all.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. All right, this time we need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a first, second to convene a public hearing? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, Joy.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, we have a request to rezone 1.82 acres from medium density residential, which carries an R2 zoning, to agricultural forestry. This property is located at 7797 Dover Bluff Road in Waverly. Now here you can see the parcel is highlighted in blue, and the surrounding parcels, which the majority of them are zoned AF in this area. Now, the applicant intends on combining the property with the property adjacent to it, which is highlighted in the red, which would make this a total acreage of 4.31. This is the plat that has been submitted, the recombination plat that has been submitted to planning. As you can tell, or as you can see, it will make the total acreage 4.31 as stated before. So therefore, the owner is requesting this rezone to allow the recombination with the adjacent parcel, which is zoned agricultural forestry. So Planning Commission recommends approval of this.
What's the minimum acreage for agricultural forestry? Isn't it 3 acres?
Just 3 acres, yes, sir.
Anybody from the board got any questions for Joey? Anybody from the public wish to speak in favor of this item? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? All right. Hearing none, now we need a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a first and a second to rejoin the regular meeting. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, you're back up, Joey.
Thank you, Chairman. Tonight we have the request to rezone 1.82 acres from medium density and residential, which is an R2 zoning, to agricultural forestry. This property is located at 7797 Dover Bluff Road in Waverly. Planning Commission recommends approval of this.
Can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'll second it. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, Jared?
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight before you, you have it's basically an additional certification for compliance with GDOT. It's an ongoing condition to receive funding from Georgia Department of Transportation that we should remain fully compliant in, I'm losing it here, annual immigration compliance. So it's with the contract that we approved in the previous meeting. This was a secondary form that needed to be filled out. So we're just looking for you guys to approve and sign this on so we can send it over to GDOT.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Got a first and second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Tonight I'm here to ask for the approval to purchase our last set of Hurst hydraulic extrication equipment. This will replace our last unit that was in 1999. Right now, we keep all our hydraulics on the I-95 corridor due to heavy traffic, and this is the last one. We've replaced 3 previous. This will be our last. With this, these will allow us to cut the stronger materials that the new vehicles are made of, and this will keep us in compliance with NFPA 1936. So we requested this in our capital budget. The total is $41,139. Originally, it was quoted for $37,600, but due to an increase, we're at the $41,100, and they have anticipated another increase as of November 1st. That's why we're asking now for this purchase.
I'd say we got our money's worth out of the old set.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a motion on this item?
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the Hurst hydraulic equipment for $41,000.
We have a
Second.
second. Got a first and a second to buy the Hurst hydraulic extraction equipment. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, sirs.
We're going to tag team you tonight.
Okay.
Commissioners, I come before you, request approval to purchase a 3,000-gallon tanker from Fouts Brothers. We currently have one remaining 2002 Freightliner Firevac that serves as a frontline tanker. This tanker, if it's approved tonight, this tanker will be placed in District 17. This was also approved in our capital project also for this upcoming budget as well. The price was $401,553.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve the purchase of the 3,000-gallon tanker from Fouts Brothers, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
First and second to approve the purchase of the 3,000-gallon tanker. Is this going in Lanny's district again?
District 17.
Yeah, he said District 17, I'm District 1.
Yeah. Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
I've never heard of a District 17. Station 17?
Station
That's what
17.
it was, yeah.
That's gotta be way up there.
All right, Seth, you're handling the next item?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Good evening. I'm coming before you for asking for approval for the installation of the acoustic ceiling tiles in the main operations room and the media communications room at the Resiliency Operations Center. We asked Troy Acoustics to provide a quote for installing their signature Troy acoustic sound system by adding absorptive ceiling tiles to minimize the sound reverberation in the main operations room and the media communications room. The reverberation would drastically decrease, making noise less intrusive and providing a better acoustical environment inside the Resiliency Operations Center. The reason that we're doing this in those two rooms is because they have open ceilings all the way to the metal roof. In which is there's why they're so noisy in those rooms during weather events. The rain makes it extremely noisy. So while doing this, it will also decrease our electricity usage there because there'll be less space needing to be air conditioned or heated and cooled. And it's a total of $147,432.25, and this has been allocated from the Congressman Carter CDS funding.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
First and second to add the installation to the main operations room and the media communications room at the Resiliency Center. Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank y'all.
Motion carries. All right. Next item is the cancellation of the November 5th, 2024 regular meeting due to scheduling conflicts. I believe that is the Elections Day. Can I get a motion on canceling that meeting?
Motion to approve the cancellation of November 5th, 2024 meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
First and second to cancel the November 5th meeting. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, next item, discussion continuing citizens' complaints about animal control services. Mr. Goodman, I believe you wanted to add this. What was the citizens' complaint?
The complaint is an ongoing situation where people have stray animals on their property, and it's slow services, or in some cases, they allege lack of services, having those animals picked up. And then there is a great deal of information out there, whether it's correct or not, and I think we need to correct it if it's not correct, about alleged inhumane treatment of the animals in open kennels and in, sunlight and that kind of thing. So we need to address those problems and try to get a handle on what the perception of the public is, or correct the deficiencies if they in fact exist. Thank you.
Okay, I got a couple of things. Did you call staff, or did you go to the kennels and verify?
No, I have not.
Well, I went the following Monday. The dogs are not housed outside. The dogs are housed inside. The kennels are inside. They take the dogs outside and put them in the kennels during the day sometimes when they're cleaning the kennels inside. Now, staff spent time preparing some information for the public. So if, we'll turn it over to staff and we'll give
Yeah,
the
Seth,
public
if-
some information on it.
You and Jared just don't mind. I think Scott's got the PowerPoint presentation. I believe Seth has a paper form for all the commissioners to be able to view.
One thing too is that 48-hour rule that this Kelly was talking about. If you don't mind, answer that one as well, okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I was at the kennel today. There's no animals outside the building. Everything was inside. They're cooled, they're fanned. Part of the building's air conditioned, and it was extremely clean when I was there. I went out to look at them, the dogs.
When I went, they hadn't had time to clean up yet because I called them early in the morning.
Yeah, well, I was there today. It was very clean, very clean. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Like Commissioner Casey was saying, we got a presentation we got to give to y'all, so that way we can kind of all be on the same page and get on all the information out there. These are actually a box of puppies that were actually found at a ball field, if I remember correctly, and all of them were taken care of, all of them were vetted, vaccinations, spayed, neutered, and eventually adopted out. In our staffing, we do have which the Public Protection and Compliance Director, which is myself, 3 animal control officers, full-time animal control officers, and then 2 part-time kennel technicians that are currently budgeted, but we have not filled those positions as of right now. Our FY25 budget, our total budget is $362,277. Salaries accumulate $219,077 of that $362,000. Contracted services budget is $90,000. FY24 was $159,580. Almost $70,000 was cut due to the budget, cut from the budget due to the dissolution with the Humane Society of Camden County. Supplies budget remains at $53,200. Here's I just wanted to go over a couple of ordinances, kind of the main ones that we deal with, day in and day out. Section 1415 is sterilization of adopted dogs and cats. A dog or cat must be sterilized within 30 days of acquiring or within 30 days of maturity. Any individual refusing to do so will be subject to the pet being seized by animal control and will have penalty fees applied. To combat this, once a stray hold or seize hold has expired, we schedule the animal to be sterilized before they're adopted out. In very rare cases, due to some scheduling conflicts with the veterinarians, we can still adopt that dog out as long as an appointment has been made with the vet within that 30 days to have that sterilization completed. Going on to section 1481-82, abandonment and cruelty. No person, owner, or custodian of an animal shall release such animal on any property, public or private, with the intention of abandoning that animal. And then the cruelty section is no person shall harm, maim, or kill any animal or attempt to do so. And of course, there are extensive, situations or extensive circumstances that go on with these. But these are ones that we deal with, mainly. Section 14-122, animals running at large. It shall be unlawful for the owner or keeper of any animal other than a hunting dog during hunting season to permit it to run at large in the county or stray from the premises of the owner or keeper or go upon the premises of any other person. This ordinance is not always an automatic citation offense. per section 14.5 of the violations of the chapter of the ordinance for the animal ordinances, animal control officers are permitted to use reasonable discretion in the course of investigating violations. And that 14.5 violations of chapter states that whatever has been determined that any provision of this chapter has been violated prior to filing a warrant or accusation pertaining to such violation, the appropriate authority may serve the owner of the premises on which the violation occurred with a copy of this chapter, provide such owner with written notice of the violation, and allow such owner a reasonable time as determined by the appropriate authority or his representative, but not exceeding 30 days, in order to permit such owner to avoid prosecution by correcting the condition constituting the violation. For the purposes of this chapter, the appropriate official includes an official of the Camden County Health Department, the Camden County Animal Control Officer, or a member of the Camden County Sheriff's Office. I wanted to expand on, I wanted to put this in here because, I wanted to make sure that it was known that, just because it's a situation where, if you go to your kitchen to do something, you go to your bedroom to do something, and a dog digs its way out of the fence, you come back to look at your dog and it's gone. Jumping to a citation right there off the bat, it's not, that's kind of taking it to an extreme level, especially if we've had no prior instances with them before. Dogs, Camden County Animal Control provides animal sheltering services in collaboration with animal boarding facilities in Camden County. We created a shelter after dissolution with the Humane Society of Camden County. Since this dissolution with Humane Society of Camden County, 173 dogs have been processed through Camden County Animal Control, and as of October 1st, 2024, our live save rate stands at 90%. A 48-hour rule and found dog report. Camden County Animal Control implemented the 48-hour rule after being presented with the successes of instituting this measure from Ms. Cameron Moore, animal sheltering expert from the University of Florida. This measure has supported most lost dogs going home rather than being impounded by Camden County Animal Control. This measure is being used by other agencies in the state of Georgia. We did include the link for the found dog report on this.
And I just wanted to speak to the found dog report, what is actually on that report. So we encourage our residents to fill out this report. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through it. We ask for a description of the dog, the gender of the dog, if you can tell, whether the dog has been altered or not. As well as the size of the dog, the estimated age of the dog, if there's any distinctive markings on the dog, and then we ask, of course, where did you find the dog, the date of when you found the dog, was the dog wearing a collar, has the dog been scanned for a microchip, does the dog appear to be sick or injured, is the dog friendly, are you able to provide care for the dog until the owner is found or other arrangements can be made, did you relocate the dog, and where is the dog now if you did that, and then also we give them the ability to upload an image, which is very helpful for us, and of course then their contact information. And then on that report you'll see, please note Camden County Animal Control will not pick up dogs for at least 48 hours. The majority of dogs are found in the neighborhood they live in, and they have the best chance of getting back home if they are retained in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Next, we're going to go to the NACA position statement. NACA is the National Animal Care and Control Association. It's where all of our animal control officers are certified. It's a great asset to us, a resource for us to have. And per the National Animal Care and Control Association, any animals found should be checked for identification and returned in the field, or ask pet finders to hold healthy and friendly strays in their homes. And I provided their position statement down here at the bottom. It's number 4. And I'll go ahead and read that. Animal control officers should check found pets for any identification, including microchips, and return pets in the field without impounding them unless those pets truly need sheltering. For pets that have been found by a Good Samaritan, ask pet finders to upload found dog reports online, which we currently do, hold healthy and friendly pets in their homes, and help get lost pets back home without them having to come to the shelter. Animal control officers should transport impounded animals home when possible if their owners or caregivers do not have access to reliable transportation. Dog adoptions, Camden County Animal Control does the following for every dog brought into our animal shelter. We offer spay and neuter services, microchipping, vaccinations, and socialization, and we also offer free adoptions. Adoption challenges, which is obviously nationwide in the current state of animal control in the animal world. At the last two adoption events, we have not successfully had an adoption. The national averages, as of today, are the 80-day stay per dog in an animal shelter. It used to be 40. Intake has increased by 500,000 this year over last year. Adoption rates have decreased 55% since 2021, and dog food prices have increased 25% since March of 2021. Camden County Animal Control average for dogs being in our possession is 32 days stay per dog. Cost per dog per day. Based on current pricing and staffing, not including 2 board-approved kennel technicians, Camden County Animal Control spends nearly $35 per dog per day. These expenses include labor, supplies, and required vaccinations. At nearly $35 per dog per day, this does not include the sterilization of the dog, in which that price varies upon factors such as gender, age, weight, and veterinarian availability. Housing consumes nearly 1/3 of animal control's approved annual budget, and 2/3 of the budget goes to enforcement.
Can I speak real quick?
So one reason for that we can't give necessarily a set price on the sterilization of the animal is because there's several factors, like he said, gender, age, weight, and veterinarian availability. We work with several vets, and it just depends on which vet's office we can get in the soonest. And of course, the size, if it's a large mastiff, it's going to cost significantly a lot more money. So, I mean, you're anywhere from the $100 range to the $300 range, depending on the dog, whether it's a female, or male. So there's just those kind of differences that definitely make the price go up and down.
Not to try to compare, but when I had our dog sterilized, it was $500 and she was only 50 pounds. I mean, that's through private pricing.
Sean, thank you for that. And I think the reason for everybody to understand, we get a very reduced rate from our veterinary clinics, which we're very thankful for. So we don't have to pay the full prices. Like Sean said, it was $500. I know for a friend that recently got their dog spayed, it was $800.
There we go. The animal shelter capacity. Camden County Animal Control has limited capacity for animal sheltering services. County staff constructed 7 kennels by closing in the facility storage bay at the facilities building in Woodbine, Georgia. To accommodate additional dogs, we partner with 2 boarding facilities in Camden County and use the maximum amount of kennels they will allow us to have. At one boarding facility, the maximum is 3 kennels, and at the other boarding facility, it varies depending on availability. In addition to the 7 kennels, we have 1 maternity ward kennel. And here we have our shelter license. And our license type, if you look down at the bottom, our capacity is only allowing us to house up to 20 pets. And here's our indoor air conditioning sheltering facilities. 7 kennels in the middle. The maternity ward on the right, and then on the left is just some of the cage cards that identifies the dog, what kind of, behavioral, breed, age, weight, all that good stuff, just their kind of, their portfolio, their biography on those cages. Exterior temporary holding kennels. We have 8 temporary holding kennels that are located outside in our facilities building backyard. These temporary kennels are utilized only for the following: cleaning the indoor air-conditioned kennels, feeding, process of intake, and soft introduction to dog behavior. And here's our exterior temporary holding kennels.
So So we go after several grants for our animal services department. We have either applied or in the process of applying for some of these following grants. So we applied for the Rachel Ray No Kill Excellence Grant, which is up to $60,000 that can be awarded. We are in process of the ASPCA National Shelter Grants Initiative, which is up to $95,000 that can be awarded. Also in process at the Hills Pet Food Grant, which is up to a pallet of dog food per quarter that could be awarded. And then lastly, we were awarded the Best Friends Organization TMVR Pilot Program Grant, which $50,000 was awarded to Camden County. So we are, in total of grant funding being pursued is $205,000.
Seth, isn't there there's a percentage of being a no-kill shelter that you have to maintain in order to receive grant funding?
That's correct. You have to remain at 90%, which we are at currently. So some of the animal control department challenges that the animal control department has faced is, number one, staffing. We're very thankful to the Camden County Board of Commissioners for approving 2 part-time kennel technician positions to Camden County Animal Control. Unfortunately, since we posted the positions, we have been unable to successfully hire for these roles. And so I'm going to open it up to the audience. If you would like to apply, we would love to have you. It's part-time, around 25 hours a week at $15 an hour. Please apply. We would love to have you help our animals. And then also with veterinarian services, we've had to switch vets a couple of times or kind of just work with vets kind of here and there due to the veterinarian shortage across America. So there are only 33 accredited veterinarian schools in the United States, and the admittance rate is between 10 and 15%, so it's fairly low. So it's just really difficult. We don't have enough vets in Camden County, unfortunately. And also something I would like to go over, there was a staff request during the budget hearings that we made to the Board of Commissioners for $300,000 for a proposed additional shelter building. This was a 12-run shelter that we were requesting to be placed at the facilities building off of Godley Avenue. Unfortunately, there was not sufficient funds in the budget for this. So I don't like coming to you guys without trying to have a possible solution of some of the things that we were just kind of thinking of areas of that we could improve, but one is constructing a new Camden County animal shelter for 50 to 75 kennels, and this would roughly cost about $3 million. Just looking at some of the counties around Georgia that have recently done this, this is in a ballpark of a pretty good number. Also, another possible solution is purchasing the prefabricated 12 kennel building, which is $300,000. And then one thing that we thought of is a law enforcement option if the SPLOST referendum is successful at the new public safety complex, of maybe working with law enforcement and especially inmate labor to help to take care of the animals. We think that it would be good for the inmates and for the animals for them to rehabilitate while they are there. And then an option that staff, I just want to state this, is vehemently against, is abolishing the 48-hour rule in bringing on increased euthanasia. If we did this, if we just started taking in dogs, we would have to euthanize, and this option would jeopardize all grant funding that we would be able to go after. And like I said, the staff is against this option of increasing euthanasia in the county. And then lastly is continuing current operations. And lastly, I just wanted to show that we are a no-kill shelter. We were awarded this from the Best Friends organization because we have remained at over 90% of no-kill, and we're very proud of that. I know it was mentioned earlier that that we, were killed before, but we've tried to make a change and change from that. And so right now we are no kill, and we're very proud to have that honor.
Thank you, sir. Coming up in December, we'll be having our strategic planning, if everybody shows up for it. We can discuss then, going forward, what we can do as far as the county and get prepared for the next budget. All right. Sure.
I also went out to the facility, the outside caged places. That's where they actually take the pups out there to feed them. And they actually let them out and let them run around. They play with them. They get a lot of vitamin D when they do that. And I think that's important, to do that. And the $35 per dog per day plus sterilization, that's a good chunk of change, but it's well worth it. These dogs are well taken care of, and they even seem happy where they are. I didn't see anything that I thought was out of the norm. I had my dog last weekend in Yulee twice. Cost me $1,000 to keep my dog healthy, so I know what it costs. But when you've got your animals that you love, you'll do whatever it takes. And I think they would out there. I watched them play with these dogs. You had one dog that I think had a broken leg, or was it, what was it, Jared? Was it a broken leg or?
She has a condition that we weren't able to identify, but we able to identify. But she had a pretty bad leg that, was sort of exposed to some layers. Quite a bit beneath the skin.
And they literally put that dog in someone's office, and that's where that dog was, and it was well taken care of. That's amazing to me. These dogs are healthy. They've got the chips. They've got all the shots. They're more healthy probably than my little puppy is that I'm taking care of constantly. Also, Yulee, I hate to say this because I'm a local guy and I like to do everything local, but they've just opened up a new 24-hour emergency room in Yulee. I didn't know if you were aware of that or not. We need to probably check into that as well. And one more thing too, and I'm just making this as a suggestion, maybe next year when we're working on the budget and we're dealing with these things, maybe we want to make a runway for them if they want to run inside, but they were fine outside. Not one dog tried to run away from there. Actually, they let them out, played with them, and there they go. So just wanted to share that.
All right, thank you.
I want to thank you, Jared, for what y'all do. Thank you for the report, and Seth, I appreciate the information. I think we need to do a better job of, publicizing these things and being as responsive as we can be to individuals who call and complain about some animal situation, making sure they have all of this information available to them. Thank you.
Definitely, thank you, Commissioner. And one thing that I would just like to state that our animals are well taken care of, and y'all can believe it or not, but staff, we actually care for these animals that we take in, and we spend a lot of time socializing them. I can't take the credit for that. It's all of my animal control department. They really care for their jobs, and unfortunately, we don't have a 100% system that we'd love to be able to house all the dogs that we can. But I do appreciate that y'all bringing this issue up, and in responsiveness, we try to be as responsive as we can, and we'll improve our communication and work with Kristen and her department. And I can tell you, I think of anybody in the room, and I'm so glad they're here tonight, is Miss Phyllis Brown. I have worked with her since I've started. So sometimes she could probably eat me alive, but hopefully we could still go to Stefan. So. Well, thank you for being here tonight, Ms. Phyllis.
Yeah, I think the other thing to add to all of this too is just some of these statistics. I know when COVID first happened, the adoption rate soared. People started adopting cats, dogs everywhere. Right after COVID started to decline, you can even see in these statistics that, adoption rates have decreased 55%. So the only way that we're going to be able to pick up more and more stray dogs and actually, try to provide sheltering services to them is if we adopt out the ones we have. Otherwise, we're limited in capacity. So for those of you that are listening or even here in the audience, if there is anyone that's willing to adopt, we would love to have that opportunity to join with you and assist you through that. It is something that we strive to do all the time. The last two events we've had, there's been no adoptions taken, but these dogs, as they've talked about this evening, they are well trained. They've They're actually very friendly. They play well with others, and they're actually acquainted with the other dogs pretty well too. So always looking for partakers on adoption. So
And Sean, if I can add one more thing, if any of you would like to foster, we do allow fosters and love that. That's such integral to our program for the success of the dogs in our county. So if y'all wouldn't mind fostering, and also, like I mentioned in there about the job, if anybody'd like to apply, we'd love to have you.
Sean, I thought you were going to say we needed another COVID epidemic to get the adoption.
no, sir, I would not recommend it going that route.
Yeah, another thing is, when the economy gets bad, people tend to have to choose between feeding their animals or feeding their kids, and sometimes they turn their animals loose because of that. There is another cat rescue organization that's popped up in the county. I picked up a kitten out of the middle of the road the other day and gave the kitten to them. Hopefully they're taking good care of it.
And Chairman, that's above and beyond, I believe, rescue, the new rescue group that's on the scene. I've seen that they're doing some amazing work, so very thankful to have another community partner in our community.
You're saying Above and Beyond is the name of that group?
Yes, sir.
Not that he went above and beyond.
All right, we'll move on. Calendar, Katie.
The only change is the first meeting in November is canceled, and we will have one meeting in November on November 19th.
We got to back up to the,
We've,
Oh, that's right. I didn't have it on here. Okay. All right. Item number 9. You doing that? Seth or Sean or?
yes, sir, that's fine. So this is the approval, if you recall our last meeting, actually last couple of meetings where we received notice from the DA's office that they would no longer be providing juvenile prosecutorial services out of their office as of the end of September. So myself and our county attorney, Ms. Jackie Fortier, we've had the opportunity to search out and seek out an attorney who's willing to provide for this service, and we've done so with Mr. Emery Stroberg. We met with him last week. He's willing to provide that service at the rate in which we were hopeful for, which is $125 an hour. We met with him last week, had a really good conversation with him. He'll be a contract attorney through this agreement, and we anticipate this agreement to last this fiscal year. That would be the term, and then if we have to, if the DA's office so chooses to come back and provide this service, we have a 90-day notice that we would provide to Mr. Stroberg for this service to end. He will basically bill us every month, and then we will pay him for those services rendered. We'll ensure that we track the hours alongside for him, as well as communicate with Judge Green's office and juvenile just to make sure everything's going as smoothly as possible. So with that, we ask for your approval this evening.
And Jackie, I'm sure you looked over the contract and approved?
Yes, sir. The county attorneys have all been in communication and working on this contract together, so we've all shared this draft.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve the contract as presented, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, now that brings us to calendar, which we've done. County Administrator comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have a video we'd like to show from some of the damage that we received from Hurricane Helene. But before we show that, I'd just really like to take just kind of a time to sincerely thank all of our emergency management personnel. Chuck, where are you at? I think I saw you here. Did he step out? Yeah. He stepped out, okay. Chuck and his staff, they just did a phenomenal job. All of our personnel from the county, the 3 cities, the school systems, sheriff's office, they all did an outstanding job responding to and actually addressing any and every possible situation that we were dealt with throughout this storm. We were anticipating it to be a little bit further west, and then literally the day of, it shifted further east. So we ended up getting a little bit more damage than what we actually even anticipated receiving. But there's so many people and agencies to thank. Camden County Schools, the Naval Submarine Base, Kings Bay, the National Park Service for all of their assistance to us throughout this. Southeast Georgia Health System, our Red Cross, and the Salvation Army. We stood up a shelter, and we had at least 12 people actually, I think it was 13 that ran through that shelter and was able to stay out of harm's way. Even after the storm, we held the shelter open until 4 p.m. Sunday. All of our utility providers, Okefenokee Rural Electric Membership Corporation, Georgia Power, TDS, Sparklight, which I think was Hargray, Comcast, for all of their support, getting all the power, utilities, infrastructure back online for us to actually be able to live comfortably and also return to work. Again, all of our church organizations, they did a phenomenal job supporting, running out with chainsaws, providing food to those in need, even water. All of our public safety teams, Public Works, Jared and his guys, and I know Bill Coleman and Bobby Marr with St. Mary's and Jimmy here in Woodbine, they just did a phenomenal job running around as quickly as they could, getting all of the right-of-ways cleared out. Even elected officials, we've interacted with so many elected officials, not just locally, but even at the state, federal levels. They've done a tremendous job. And then all of our other staff who's assisted us as well. And even on top of that, a special thanks to Mr. Al Daniels. I don't know if he's watching this evening or not, but he actually provided breakfast and lunch to those staff members that were at the EOC. So that was a big help from him, as well as Commissioner Turner and Mr. George Kaiser, who also was able to work with Sonny's and be able to bring us all the staff there some lunch from Sonny's. So it's just an amazing outpour of support here locally. And even outside of our county, we've actually been able to try to provide assistance to those around us that have been affected even worse off than we are. In talking to several county managers across the state, we are extremely fortunate. There's still counties that are without power, without water, without utilities, even cell coverage. I know some counties where school systems may not return for a month. It doesn't mean that the students won't be learning. They have programs in which they can bring in cell towers, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, and do what they call these mobile hotspots, if you will, for the kids to be able to have class. However, you just look at the devastation that Hurricane Helene did. I think this was probably one of the worst tropical storm systems that Georgia, and not just Georgia, but even Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, and North Carolina has ever experienced. So we are extremely fortunate to be able to sit here tonight, just a few short days after Helene come through. So with that, I don't know if they've started it, but if you can start the video, hopefully we can see some of the damages that we actually sustained.
Sean, they've got one of those hot spots, as you're talking about AT&T, at the old mall at Darien. I come by there yesterday coming back from up country, and it's huge.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yeah.
AT&T set up there.
They're really cool when they deploy them. They deploy them pretty rapidly. They stand the tower up, actually provides pretty good service. Not as far reaching as what a normal tower would, but it's very helpful.
Sean, did we shelter people from other areas?
Yes, sir, we did. So we actually had some folks from Lowndes County, as far as Lowndes, but mostly local is who we had.
I think it's important that we do those kinds of things because we're more likely to have to run to them than they are to run to us.
Yes, sir.
And that's the business I was in Florida, sheltering special needs populations. And those inter-county relationships are very important. Thank you for doing that.
And I'll tell you, the Red Cross volunteers that we had, and even Salvation Army, we had volunteers from Red Cross who were from Augusta, who their own homes were damaged and destroyed. And you may see some of them here. It was just amazing talking to them and hearing some of the things they were having to go through at their own home, but yet they were still here in Camden assisting us and those who were in the shelter.
And the shelter is at the PSA.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And one thing,
Much thanks to them for letting us
yeah,
use the building.
and we were set up for them to bring people in, and the state, for some reason, decided not to do it at the last minute. But we were ready for it.
Yeah, we were anticipating people from Wayne and even some of the other, I think Liberty as well, some of the other counties further inland, but then the state, I think there was some other shelters open and they ended up diverting them
Does
to there.
PSA have a generator for their facility?
We approved a generator for the PSA a couple of meetings ago.
Yes, sir.
So it's not installed yet?
It's not
installed
installed
yet.
yet, but Georgia Power has that facility as a #1 priority. We actually had the Georgia Power rep and the EOC on Friday.
Holding them
with-
hostage?
Pretty much, yes, sir. So that alongside all of like public infrastructure like lift stations, water sewer treatment plants, hospitals, they were ensuring that all of those facilities were kept at the #1 priority.
And one other thing too, if you don't mind, is Chuck is still actively involved all around the state. He's trying to get food for Long County. They don't even have an EMA director.
That's
So
right.
he's working on that as we speak. The Harbor Church is loading up their Hope van, and I know they took off day before yesterday and went to Vidalia and Douglas, I think it was. So there's people from Camden County still helping these folks out, so that is going on.
Yeah, there's still counties that are near 100% total loss of power, which is pretty insane when you really think about that. Glenn County got close to that. I think they were 80, 90% without power.
Talked to a guy with 90 Missouri linemen today. He said they were leaving here after completing the work here, and he said they're heading toward an Air Force base for Tent City for the next couple of weeks. I think it's Valdosta. He said it was about
Moody
2
Air Force Base.
Moody. And I told him, I usually say go Dogs, but I'm going to be saying go Tigers for a while now, for the 90 of them coming into our county and taking care of us.
All right. This brings us to our final public comment section of the night. We'll limit it to 3 minutes. Any registered speakers? Anybody wish to speak before the board? Yes, sir, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the faculty. I guess you all remember me from last month. My name is Moses Wynn. I'm a resident out at Waverly, Georgia, in the Spring Bluff area. I was talking about the road at William Place that needs some repairment. And I had, you had said y'all would look into it, and I was wondering, did anybody ever go down there just to look at it? But my wife got stuck trying to go to the doctor's appointment, had a grandbaby in the car with her, and by being there so long, I don't know how many hours she was out there. But her son and my neighbor tried to dig out and get out. They couldn't get out, and so we called roadside assistance. They brought the truck down there, and they said they couldn't even put their truck in the road. They turned around and went back. So we were just wanting you all to do something with this road. We're not telling you to widen it. We don't want Highway 17. We just want you to fix what's there.
Yes.
That's all we want, you to fix what's there. And that chain, again, that chain that's across the road, that's blocking the road on the other end. A tree fell across the road when this storm came. We was blocked in just like we was in a cage. We was blocked in. We couldn't go either way. And see, and I know, it's a graveyard right at the end of my property, dated at 1863, tombstone. That road has been there for some years.
Yes.
And I know it ain't no way nobody supposed to can block that road off. We supposed to have either way for getting out, either way on that road. Now, I got my neighbors live in there. My neighbor right there, my stepson right there. We all in that road together. and we all is working together, trying to get you all to help us. We pay taxes just like everybody else, just like the ones who live outside the road. We pay taxes too. And all we asking is you all to help us. And anytime somebody gets sick in there, we got a lady live right behind me. She's in her 90s. If she was to get sick and the people trying to come to her, they can't get to her. We asking you all to help her. Now, we didn't come up here to fuss, but I just know that if you all put y'all's head together, there's some way, there's a law that guy can take that chain from across that road.
All right, we'll look into it. Thank you.
That's what you told me before.
Well, yeah, this is true. This is true.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak before the board?
Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry.
Robert Moore, 509 Westgate Circle, St. Mary's. Just going to recap, that was some great information about the animal control. And I wanted to further provide some information about my own experience. I think the biggest problem with animal control is the lack of staffing, but really it's the enforcement that I guess you could say it's like an arbitrary nature. I understand having a zero tolerance for a loose dog may be a bit excessive, but the incident that I had, I went back in December of last year, messaging the county clerk, I did open records, and I have a PDF of 56 pages of animal control calls before I finally got a resolution where that pet owner and I think it was Mr. Meyer, the former attorney, finally we had a court date and the person paid about $200. And that was all because their fence was broken. Well, I guess when you're $200 now lighter in the pocket, now you got to fix your fence still. It's just at what point? Okay, maybe institute a 3-strike or a 5-strike, but 56 pages at some point. And then looking over what we discussed is, okay, to me, for the size county, maybe that number of kennels that we have is small. But me as a taxpayer, that I've had dogs, and if my dogs have ever bolted away in the last 10 years I've been in my subdivision, me and all my little tax deductions, we're out there chasing down our dogs, and we round up the dog, and by sunset, the dog is back in my care, and never animal control, and we didn't have to call the Coast Guard or anything like that, and we got our dogs back. Now, I don't want my property taxes to go up to fund other people's poor habits or poor ownership. So I request that if you do pursue additional facilities, let it be consumer user paid. Maybe when you go and get your vaccination, you pay an extra $5. But then how is that even enforced? That's back to the enforcement. ACO's got it. Hey, if you're walking a dog, ACO, hey, let's see where your vaccine at. Because if you got your vaccine, well, then you paid the fee and you paid for the facility. But other than that, I don't know the right answer. And also doing some reading, I see I'm in the yellow, is I think the Humane Society needs to accept a contract with the county so they can open up what they can do. Their own website cites the Department of Agriculture Rules 5 and 30. Well, if they don't have a contract with you guys that have the license, I don't know. To me, if they want something better, then come to the table and get back to at least what we had a few years ago or whenever that fell through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Jared, I want to echo, surprisingly, what Mr. Moore said with regards to the presentation that Jared did. Also, I'd like to add with regards to maybe potential solutions. And that is to let us see what the animals are that you have there, to actually put them out, give us a description. It's a male, put a picture up so that the public knows who is being housed at the animal control site. The other piece of information that I'm curious about is what are the hours for the animal control officers? Is it 24 hours or is it after 5 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Are they then finished and we're calling expecting that there's going to be a response and then there isn't? With regards to legislation and enforcement, I agree once again with Rob, and I think it's interesting that throughout the whole presentation, yes, in fact, there were the local county ordinances that were that were mentioned. However, the actual OCGA law regarding animal control that can be found under Title IV, Chapter 8, once again seems to be missing. I recognize that OCGA, the law and legislation in Georgia, sometimes gets passed over this building, but maybe we might want to take a look at that code also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. June Maxwell from unincorporated Camden County. And I come to you thanking you very much. On a lighter note, I thank you very much for providing trash pickup. Now, that might sound silly, but trash pickup has cost me a fortune in the past after a storm or whatever. And I'm very grateful that you are providing that service for unincorporated Camden County this go-round. And I hope that you will take that into consideration in future storms. When we first moved to Camden County, we had that service available to us, and very grateful for that. And it was quite a surprise when it was taken away. I hope that you will reconsider and let this be a permanent issue. Thank you very much. Oh, and one other thing. I don't know about that little room in the library. It still is full of junk, and I would just really hope that you will consider getting that thing taken care of. We need it. We need the meeting room. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just if I can, the little room that she's referring to, I've asked Seth and staff to verify, and none of that stuff that's in that room is the county's. It all belongs to the library, which falls under Three Rivers Regional Library System. We have nowhere to put it. It's all their equipment, so they have to move it in order for us to be able to refinish that room. So we've tried to reach out, ask them where they can put it, when they can move it, but they have not been able to do so. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Received a communication from Mr. Matt Jordan indicating that part of the problem in getting help for Camden County is underreporting of the damage to the EMA or to the county, and these reports go into determining if we are considered a disaster area. So we need to get the word out. Mr. Boatwright, have we not been declared as part of the disaster area?
We have. So there's two different types of declarations. There's a public assistance declaration, and then there's also an individual assistance declaration. We have met the threshold for public assistance, which is for local governments and state agencies, that kind of thing, also utility providers. The individual assistance is where we need those households or citizens to be able to report their damages either to the county, preferably to the county, because we actually transfer all of that same data to FEMA. So if you are reporting to FEMA, all we ask is just that you report that to us so we have the same, so then we're reporting that same information. We've shared that link on our EMA Facebook page. I also believe we have it on the EMA portion of our website. We continue to share that message. We also even had a message go out today through our Code Red asking for individuals to actually provide any type of damage assessment if they have any, as well as supporting photos. You have to have those as well. So the more we get that, yes, that will help impact. And I also say this too, when the federal government is declaring emergency disasters, it's kind of an evolving situation because they're getting the reports from us on a daily perspective. So when the initial individual assistance came out, I think there was under 10 counties that were declared. Now I understand that to believe, I think there's over 30. And we anticipate that to continue to increase as the damage reports get increased from self-reporting. So if you are listening or if you're watching, and we'll continue to share this on our social media platforms as well as our website. But definitely go to those links, click those, take the photos, provide any information that you can. We also report that up to FEMA and GEMA, and then from there, we anticipate to receive some type of FEMA presence at some point. We know that they are working their way to us. It's just taking a long time because they're having to deal with so much damage in the inland counties. So.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for your input on this.
And if I can too, on the vegetation removal, we've also put out information on that. So what we're asking households to do, and this is on publicly owned right-of-way. If you are in a gated private subdivision, then we will not unfortunately be able to pick up in those areas. We can only deal with with public property, which is the right-of-ways that we own. So what we're asking individuals to do is all vegetative debris that has been, destroyed or fallen down on people's property from the storm, to push that as close as you can to the right-of-way, no further than 20 feet from the right-of-way. We will have our haulers come through. They will pick that debris up and collect all of that for you. So if you weren't able to drop it off to the old still site, push it to the edge of the right-of-way, we'll come through, we'll pick it up and take care of it for you.
Along with that, Mr. Boatwright, on my bus route this morning, I noticed the number of people putting fence debris and construction debris in with that vegetation, and that definitely cannot be picked up when they do that. So those things need to be kept separate.
That's correct, yes, sir. And we're only picking up the vegetative debris. So if there are other things like the white goods or, shingles or anything like that, our contractor will not be picking those up.
Thank you.
All right, any board member got anything else? All right. Can we get a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
First, second, all in favor? We're done. Thank y'all. Do you know what road he's talking about?